Well, there's no way this is gonna be easy. I wonder if Varg's gonna stop us, or sacrifice himself so that we can get away, or if it's all just gonna go south. Jurian leads the way and I follow after her. Garlan brings up the rear, his eyes alert as he constantly surveys our surroundings. The night around us is cold and still, but the quiet only makes me more anxious. Varg usually appears in situations like this. Is he not here? And I feel so useless having to be rescued like this. Garlan reaches out to place a hand on my shoulder. We're almost out. I nod, not trusting my own voice. Shh. Garlan stands at attention as we continue slowly moving forward. Eventually, a figure moves to block our path. And what is this? I cannot move. Jurian and Garlan, however, already have their swords out. The deadly metal glitters in the gray glow of the moon. Oh, it was Mithros, eh? And here I thought the fairy had given up. Mithros? Her voice is a low growl. It is so full of malice it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Let us pass. You shall not pass. And if I did, where would you be taking the princess? Jurian's shoulders tense. Garlan glares at Mithros from behind her. I could lie, but it would also be easier to just kill you. You're as bloodthirsty as ever. But unfortunately, I cannot allow your mischief to continue. Sir Mithros has just begun to raise his hand when Jurian darts forward, her sword gleaming as she raises it to slice at his arm. Sir Mithros howls, falling hard to the ground as he curls in on himself to cradle his injury. Go, quickly! Did she really just cut his arm off? The remaining quiet is all but shattered as we run away from Mithros. Though he is in pain, I can still hear his voice call out from behind us. Do not think this will be so easy, princess. I ignore him and keep running, not daring to look back. Well, we're in the tunnels. We've been running for a while now. My legs are beginning to go numb. Only a little longer, princess, and we'll be out. You're doing well. I can do no more than nod as I force myself to keep running. I am pathetic. I'm slowing them down so much. There, I can see the exit. Watch out! Whoa. There's that cane again. Jurian falls back to evade the explosion and bumps into me in the process. Moments later, however, she is once again standing at the ready with her sword. Garlan sets his hands firmly on my shoulders to help me regain my balance. What was that? A familiar face emerges from the smoke, her expression cold. Oh, it was you. Lucette. Mother. I didn't want to believe, Mithros, but here you are. Princess, get back! Mother turns to face Jurian and Garlan, her expression full of contempt. I remember you, Jurian Valiant. And you as well, Garlan Belro. I thought I was rid of Alcaster's pests. We do not work for Sir Alcaster. No, you and your pet have changed allegiances, haven't you? What? What did you call him? The smile on Mother's face is bright and cruel. It sends chills trailing down my spine. Is that not what he is? Mother casually waves a hand at Garlan, who remains quiet. He follows you around like a lost puppy. He is so desperate for a scrap of affection that he would do anything for you, regardless of his own pride. It is admirable how well he knows his commands. Stop it! Come, Garlan. Sit, Garlan. Good boy, Garlan. Shut up! Jurian, don't! But his words come too late. Jurian rushes forward, her body nothing but a blur, her teeth bared in savage hatred. Jurian is fast, but Mother is faster. She raises her hand and sends Jurian back with a terrible flash of light as Garlan catches her. Good job, Garlan. And you defend his honor as if he were some poor maiden. How pathetic. Garlan's voice is soft as he steadies Jurian. Jurian, please. She's just trying to get a rise out of you. I know that! Jurian throws his hands off, a murderous look in her eyes as she glares at Mother. Mother remains in the same place, smiling that terrible smile of hers. She is amused by this, nothing more.
Get the princess out of here, Garlan.
But what are you saying? I am not leaving you here.
Once she's safe, come back for me.
Jurian finally turns to look at him, a soft smile on her face.
Trust me, Lan.
There's a long moment of silence as the two gaze at each other. Unspoken words pass between them, and eventually Garlan caves. All right. Both of them tighten their grips on their swords.
Are you done?
Mother hasn't moved, but her presence in the small tunnel is overwhelming. Her magic smothers the very air. Jurian sinks into a stance, her body loose and poised, seemingly unperturbed.
Ready when you are.
Mother does not attack. Instead, she turns to face me with one graceful movement.
Lucette, stop this nonsense. This is not the time for games. Be a good girl and go back to your room.
There's no reasoning with Mom. Stand your ground.
Dearest one?
I stand resolute and take strength from Garland's steady presence behind me. What Mother is doing is wrong. What she wants isn't right and has never been right. What she's done to the king, what she's done to Angielle. How am I meant to look at her the same way? My voice is quiet when I finally speak. No.
What?
I look her in the eyes. No, I will not return to my room. Mother's expression is unexpectedly calm as she looks at me.
My own daughter would choose these traitors and liars over me? Is my love so inconsequential to you?
Has she ever truly loved me? Varg, where are you hiding in these shadows? Mother, if your love is what love is meant to be, I do not want it. Mother is not who I thought she was. When I look at her now, all I can see is what she truly is. Evil.
Clearly you have become corrupted during my absence. I suppose it must be the work of the infernal fairies. Never mind. Once I have destroyed each and every one of them, you will return to me, my daughter.
She raises her hand and light curls around her fingers, but before she can cast her spell, Jurian is at my mother's side.
Ugh!
Jurian's sword glints as it slices through air and then through Mother's clothes. Go! Princess, come on!
But Jurian, if we leave her alone...
Garlan pulls me away from my mother and Jurian as their battle begins. I hear the dull clatter of metal as we run and can see the flashes of light even as we escape back the way we came. Garlan. We have not gotten far when I force Garlan to a stop. Garlan! It is only when I grab his shoulder that he stops and turns to look at me. Princess? We cannot leave her there. Maybe I can convince Mother to let her go. You really think you can convince that witch? I can try. My job is to keep you safe. Mother has all the power of the Crystallum Tenebrarum at her disposal. I force myself to say it. Jurian will not last long. Garlan, you have to know this too. Jurian must know as well. Garland's jaw hardens and he stares at me, not truly looking at me, but through me. Garlan, please. We cannot let Jurian die. Not when we might be able to do something about it. Garlan stares at the ground, his expression conflicted. I know he cares for her, and that is why he must go back for her. Garlan closes his eyes briefly. When he opens them, I know he has made his decision. All right. When we return, the scene is very different. Blood spatters the tunnel walls, and Jurian is on her knees, bent forward, her face away from us. My mother is nowhere to be seen. Jurian! Garlan is suddenly in front of me, mindlessly racing toward Jurian. Jurian! Jurian! All at once, she seems to come alive. She gasps out for breath and coughs.
Garlan? What are you doing here? I told you to...
Her voice wavers as Garlan crouches down in front of her. He folds himself around her and pulls her gently to his chest. His eyes are shut tight as he buries his face in her hair. Aww. Jurian chokes back a sob as she reaches up to hold him tightly.
Both of them are alive and safe.
You idiot, I told you to get her out! The princess gave me permission to disobey an order. He lifts his head to smile back at me. She outranks you, Jurian. At least as far as titles are concerned. Garlan slowly guides her to her feet. What happened? The queen disappeared, and Jurian suddenly stops. We hear it at the same time, a terrible ripping sound like the air itself is being torn. I see the slither of shadows and unnatural light in the darkness, and suddenly I realize what is happening. My panicking mind is only able to process everything that happens in slow motion. Oh dear. Mother appears behind Jurian, poised to strike. I see the horror in Garland's eyes, then acceptance and determination. I try to cry out a warning, anything, but I can barely breathe. Garland pushes Jurian toward me and out of the way as he rushes my mother. Ugh, Garland. At the same time Garland pushes forward, Mother holds out her hand. It takes only a single heartbeat for her to plunge it into Garland's chest. Garland! Garland!
What a loyal pet, giving your life for hers.
Garland's face crumples in on itself. Even from where I am, I can hear Mother twist her hand inside him.
And how sad.
Mother wrenches her bloodied hand out and Garland falls to the ground. You just killed him with your hand?
You fool. You didn't even tell her that you loved her.
You! Jurian runs at my mother, a desperate cry of grief and rage escaping from her. Jurian, no! She is too weak from her own injuries. She can barely hold up her sword. I am unable to speak or move as Jurian rushes toward her own death. But Mother simply sidesteps, her expression disinterested as Jurian falls to her knees.
I was kind enough to kill him slowly for you, so you could say your goodbyes.
Mother turns to face me. The blood drips from her hand down to her dress, where it congeals and oozes like black tar.
Do you understand now, dearest one? This is what you have made me do. This is what I must do now to all those who have corrupted you. You were the one who forced my hand. Do not forget that.
For a moment the air in the tunnel disappears and a terrible silence fills the darkness. By the time the air comes rushing back into my starved lungs, Mother is gone. The tunnel is empty. Lights flicker in the aftermath of her disappearance. The only thing I can hear apart from the rushing of blood in my ears is Jurian's sobs.
Garland, Garland, no!
I make my way slowly toward her. It is like wading slowly through murky water. Jurian is leaning over Garland and has his head on her lap. He is still breathing. Parfait can help him. When I crouch down, I can see the open wound Mother left behind. I swallow down the bile that rises in my throat, along with any of my words of comfort. Magic cannot fix this.
Garland, please.
I get down on my knees beside Jurian. This is my fault. Don't cry.
Garland!
He smiles at her. It is a genuine smile that breaks my heart. Jurian shakes her head.
No, Garland, you can't.
Jurian, I love... His voice trails off as he closes his eyes, his breathing becoming more labored. He gasps one last time before his body stills completely.
Garland? Garland!
I bite down on my tongue and bow my head as Jurian howls her loss into the silence of the blood-soaked tunnel. We spend some time with Garland in the tunnel. Jurian shakes with silent sobs as she grips his still body. I'm so sorry, Garland, that you had to die this time. But eventually, Jurian gently removes Garland from her lap as she stands up. She takes his sword as she presses her hand to his face one last time. Then she turns and walks away from Garland's body with his sword clutched tightly in one hand. She grips her sword in the other. It takes all that I have to keep up with her. Jurian. Jurian, this is all my... Not now. Her voice is quiet, and all the more disturbing for it. This is all my fault. Lucette, Jurian. Waltz? What is he doing here? Waltz comes running up to us, his eyebrows creased with worry.
I've been waiting so long, I was about to...
He pauses, his eyes flickering to the swords in Jurian's hands.
Why do you have Garlan's sword?
Waltz's face pales.
Where is he?
Gone.
Ugh. What? Garlan is gone.
Her hands tighten on the sword she holds. For a few moments her shoulders slouch, but then she turns away abruptly and continues walking.
Let's go.
Waltz turns to me.
They said it was going to be a simple in and out, so I let them go alone. What happened in there?
What do I say? The truth? It was my fault.
Princess, I'm sure that's not true.
I glare at Waltz as tears well in my eyes. It was my fault. Waltz falls silent as he studies my face. Then he sighs before taking my hand.
We'll sort this out at the margin. Come on.
Thanks for holding my hand. So Varg really did not get involved at all. He just let it happen, and Mother went somewhere. As soon as the marching doors close behind us, Jurian collapses. Jurian! Luckily, I am close enough to catch one of her arms, and Waltz is fast enough to catch the other.
Move her to the chair.
Together, we manage to guide Jurian to the chair. We set her down on it as gently as we can. I watch as she unfolds on the chair, and that is when I see the dark red slashes and tears in her clothing. Some of her wounds are open and visibly bleeding. She's still bleeding! Waltz pulls a cloth from his back pocket and hands it to me.
Clean what you can. I'll get Lady Parfait and Rumple.
He runs off, leaving me alone with Jurian. It looks like she's bleeding everywhere. I steel myself and kneel by her side. Gently, I reach out and begin to wipe at the worst of what I can see. Jurian moans and I flinch in sympathy. I'm sorry. I feel a lump rise in my throat. I convinced Garlan to go back. If I hadn't, he wouldn't have... Jurian shifts slightly to put her hand on my cheek. Her touch is cool and gentle. Jurian? There is a softness in her gaze and an inexplicable kindness in the touch of her hand. After a moment, Jurian slowly nods and her eyes fall closed on a sigh. Wait, is she okay? Jurian? Jurian! Waltz! She just closed her eyes. She's not speaking. She's not going to die soon, is she?
Not if I have anything to say about it. Excuse me, Princess.
Rumple gently pushes me aside, and I let him, hovering over his shoulder as he crouches to inspect Jurian. Well?
Princess?
Walt steps beside me and gently places his hand on my arm. What?
Rumple needs to work his magic now.
And?
So... why don't we get you something to drink?
I am not going to leave her.
Princess, please. We should let Rumple work.
I look back over my shoulder, watching how carefully Rumple attends to Jurian. Okay. I trust Rumple. He's a good doctor. Waltz's hand acts as my lifeline as he helps me into the tavern area. My legs become weaker with every step. Hey, it's been so long. Hi, stranger. Delora. I only realize that I'm running to her after I barrel into her. I bury my face in her shoulder as I suppress a sob. Delora's arms come around me, holding me tight as whatever calm facade I was holding up comes apart at the seams. She became my new mother. Waltz, would you please get those mugs?
Of course.
Delora leads me to one of the benches, one of her arms still around me so she can rub my back. Somehow, the simple gesture is helping me calm down. Lucette, are you hurt? I shake my head. Thank goodness for that. I stay in her embrace until Waltz returns to place something on the table. How are we doing? I pull away reluctantly to rub at my eyes. I'm okay. Delora takes a mug and places it in my hand. Good. Now drink. I do not question and raise the mug to my mouth. Hot chocolate. Delora made this for me before. I take a few deep swallows of the hot, sweet liquid. Better? Yes. Lucette, can you tell me what happened? Mother found us in the tunnels. Jurian told Garlan to get me out. I completely forgot about the crystal thing. Man, that was forever ago. My throat threatens to close, but I force the words out. Mother is so strong, and I thought Jurian might not survive. So I convinced Garlan to go back, and that's when... I stare down at my mug, my hands trembling. It's my fault. It's all my fault. If I hadn't convinced Garlan to go back, Mother wouldn't have killed him. The silence in the tavern is deafening. Finish your hot chocolate, Lucette. I obey without a word. Everyone is going to be so angry with me. It's my fault Garlan is dead, and it's my fault Jurian is injured. Have you heard about your step-family? I know they're gone. Are they dead as well because of me? Hey, don't look like that. I'll have you know that I had to use a sleeping spell on Prince Rod and Princess Emmeline earlier. They heard about what Jurian and Garlan were going to do tonight. I don't think I would have been able to stop them from coming along on the rescue mission otherwise. What? You got them out, Princess. Varg would have killed them if you hadn't stepped in. The Queen was already waiting at the end of the tunnel on the day the Prince and Princess escaped. Alcaster must have somehow gotten wind of the escape plan, which was why he had Varg try to eliminate them then and there. Security tightened more after that day. Oh, thank goodness. And we've been worrying about you ever since you left. Well, ever since you stormed out all those months ago. Delora's smile is sad as she reaches out to push my hair out of my face. None of this was your fault, Lucette. If anything, it was mine. Mine and Parfait's for letting this happen. We tried to help you escape, but we couldn't break the shield around the palace in fear of putting everyone inside in danger. That is why we had to wait. We never thought we'd have to worry about Hilda being revived. And though we would have liked to save you outside of the palace... That's right, I was out of the palace more than a couple of times. Once with Varg and another with Mother. We couldn't put the lives of others in danger when Hilda was right there. She would have killed the citizens. Even if I'd wanted to escape the day I was with Varg, he wouldn't have let me. I grip my now empty mug. Princess. I understand how you feel, and I know it's difficult, but frankly we have bigger fish to fry. I think you realize now what kind of person Hilda is. I do. Then you know what we have to do. I know too well what it is we must do. In fact, I knew this was bound to happen sooner or later. I started this. I do not know if I can fix everything, and I do not know if I can save Angielle. But no matter how long it might take, I must make things right. I finally look up at Delora and nod. We have to stop Mother. It's gotta be done. Chapter 9. Rebellion! Let's start up the Rebel Alliance. At first, this route felt like it was speeding along. Now it seems to have slowed down quite a bit in the latter half. I mean, we're only at chapter 9 now. And look how terrible things are. Because of the severity of Jurian's wounds, Rumple decided he would bring her to the nearest clinic so she could be better cared for. Anise decided to go with him, and surprisingly, Ophelia and her children all opted to go as well. Now, the only ones left here at the tavern are me, Delora, Waltz, and Karma. They may not say it, but I'm sure they are blaming me for what is happening to Angielle right now. I need to make things right. I close my eyes as a sudden bout of dizziness comes over me. Mother has always been the person that mattered most to me. I never questioned or disobeyed her because she was so important. She was my light in days that were often so dark. But I have no choice. If Mother isn't stopped, who knows how many more lives will be lost? The only way to stop Mother is to kill her, isn't it? I'm sorry, but this really is the only way. Yes, I know. But I do not think I could kill her myself. Delora has a knowing look in her eyes as she turns to address Waltz.
We'll leave as soon as Parfait comes back from her meeting with the fairies. If you can fully use your magic, then we may actually stand a chance.
Magic? What are you talking about? Waltz is just a street magician. What help could he be?
Don't underestimate our magician. Waltz is a witch and a lot stronger than he looks.
Waltz is a witch? You know I have the Neverland curse.
Yes.
I did not know that fairy tale, but what does that have to do with anything? Your mother was the witch that cursed me.
What?
But Waltz, if you are also a witch, how can you be cursed? Okay, so I was wondering if it was dear mother that did that. Your mother is a Tenebrae bearer, which means she has the power to punish all witches if she chooses.
As to why he was cursed,
Waltz's expression darkens. Hilda needed to be stopped. I knew I couldn't defeat her alone, so I enlisted the help of the fairies. I betrayed her, and she punished me before she died.
Waltz almost single-handedly brought about the end to the Great War. He's the reason we've been enjoying this peace for as long as we have.
I never knew.
Of course, you can only imagine how displeased Hilda was with Waltz.
Hilda stole my shadow and sealed it away in Neverland.
Pause. What? She stole your shadow. Is that what's in the box? In our room? That's Neverland?
Your shadow?
We really need to work on your fairy tale knowledge one of these days, Princess. Peter Pan is a boy that lives in Neverland, which is a place where children never grow up. Waltz's curse means he has been frozen in a child's body since Hilda cursed him all those years ago. He can't grow up, and he can't use any magic.
Well, I can still do some spells, but only simple, harmless ones.
For Waltz to get his magic back, he needs to find Tinkerbell, which is the key to Neverland. We need to unlock his shadow.
Tinkerbell? But all this time you've never found Tinkerbell or Neverland? I've looked everywhere I can think of. I'm sure she cast a spell on it to make it more difficult to locate.
Even in the palace?
Dolores snorts and I suddenly feel embarrassed.
Oh, of course not. Why would Waltz look in the palace first? I mean, especially considering Hilda is the queen and has numerous secret chambers for things she wants to keep hidden.
Looking through the entirety of the palace for a small box might be difficult. Neverland is a box that was left me by my parents. It's made of gold, with carvings that resemble a pair of wings.
What?
Waltz jumps at my sudden reaction. I have that box in my bedroom.
I knew it. Princess?
That box. I had forgotten about it, but I can vaguely remember an old box in my room that matches that description. Mother left me a trinket box and a key that matched that description. She told me never to touch the box or to let anyone see it. I've had it for years. All this time, Tinkerbell and Neverland were with you? I never knew what was inside. I was too afraid to disobey Mother's orders. The thought of her giving you that box never even crossed my mind. But now, thinking back on it, it makes sense. I want to ask him what he means, but we're running out of time. I will have to ask him about it at a later time, like on his route, perhaps. I can get Neverland and Tinkerbell to you. I can return your magic.
With Waltz back to his true form, we may have a fighting chance at this.
So what do we do first?
We? There is no we in this, Lucette. Only us.
But I just said I could help. It is too dangerous, Princess. But I am the only one who knows where to find the box.
Then you will tell us where it is and we'll retrieve it. It's as simple as that.
I scowl at her with my arms crossed. I refuse to stay here and be useless while everyone else puts themselves at risk saving Angielle. Angielle is this way because I brought back Mother. I must take responsibility. And I will not let anyone else die at Mother's hands.
Lucette.
Mother is less likely to harm me. I have a better chance of getting Neverland and Tinkerbell without causing a disturbance.
How can you say that after what's already happened? You're not safe either, Lucette.
Ugh! No sooner has she said the words than a terrible blast echoes through the marchen. Hey, my boo! I cough as smoke envelops the tavern. A silhouette emerges in front of us, and I feel my blood turn cold when I realize who it is. Varg. Just when I thought I was safe, Varg reappears.
Oops. I always forget how powerful this thing can get.
Where previously there had been a wall made of stone, sturdy and strong, there is now a sizable hole. Remnants of brick and stone collapse inward in the aftermath. The dust rises to settle around Varg's feet, where he stands casually twirling his cane.
I hope I'm not disturbing anything, but all the doors were locked.
Karma. Karma? Where is Karma? Delora and I turn to glance at the wall behind us where Waltz is looking. Karma is standing there, injured. Great. His forehead has a large gash, and one of his arms is limp and useless. He still manages to tightly grip the hilt of his sword with his other hand. Where did Karma come from?
I would have appreciated you destroying less property when you knocked on the tavern door.
And I would have appreciated it if you'd gotten out of my way when I asked politely, so I wouldn't have had to resort to explosions. Seems both of us are disappointed.
What do you want, Varg?
Don't we all already know the answer to that question? Come on.
Varg turns to look at me expectantly.
I thought the stolen goods would be brought here.
What did you just call me?
Has no one told you that women do not like being imprisoned against their will?
Has no one told you people that it's not good to steal?
I am not an item to be stolen or imprisoned. I ball my hands into fists. I cannot let Varg hurt anyone here. I have no idea if this will work. But if Fritz is truly fighting, then he must be able to hear my voice. Fritz. Varg growls, his eyes bright and angry as he glares at me.
You need to give up on him, Princess.
Never. Fritz, I know you're still there.
No matter what you say, nothing will change. Fritz is gone.
Adiuva!
He won't.
Varg chokes on his words and doubles over.
You are being very annoying.
Did it work? Out of the corner of my eye, I notice Karma preparing to attack while Varg is momentarily weakened. Something does not feel right. Karma, stop!
What?
Get the princess away from here!
What's happening?
That voice. Fritz! Despite the fact that it is Varg standing before me, it is most certainly Fritz looking at me through those eyes.
Please. I don't know how long I can hold him here. You all need to get out of here while you still can. You need to keep the princess safe. Keep her away from the palace.
Waltz, get her out of here now! No! I dodge Waltz's reaching hands as I attempt to run toward Fritz.
Keep her safe, please. Now!
No, don't hurt him! Karma runs forward, his sword raised just as Waltz grabs my hand and pulls me out of the way. No! Time slows as I watch Varg slowly come back to coherence. His lips curl into a snarl as he begins to bring his cane down to the floor. Delora throws her hand out, the collected light racing toward Varg. Varg stumbles back, his cane never hitting the floor. Varg growls as he glares up at Delora.
Witches are so inconvenient.
Unfortunately, Delora's not the only inconvenience in this room.
Varg raises his cane to block Karma's next swing. Waltz grips my hand and tugs.
We have to go, Princess.
I glance back at Karma and Delora. There must be something I can do. I gotta help them, though. My eyes drift toward Varg's cane. That cane is the source of his magic. If I can get it away from him, then Delora and Karma will stand a chance. With renewed determination, I run toward Varg.
Princess!
I barrel past Karma and hit Varg square in the gut with my shoulder, forcing him backwards into the ground. I manage to twist the cane away from him and clutch it as Varg rises and begins to advance toward me.
No time for games. Give it back.
No. You really are nothing without your cane, aren't you? For a moment there is only silence as Varg freezes. I cannot read the expression on his face. What is he thinking? Varg breaks the silence when he bursts out laughing. It is a sound that heralds certain chaos.
The cane is not my only weapon.
I watch as Varg slips a dagger out from his sleeve.
And what are you going to do with that little thing? Poke me.
He's going to hold it to my neck, of course.
Who said anything about you?
To you? Okay, I give you that. That's actually pretty smart, because I don't want Fritz to die. Varg brings the dagger to his neck.
This dagger is more than enough to do some damage to the princess's favorite knight.
No!
Now that is definitely cheating.
This is ridiculous. You share a body. You'll end up hurting yourself as well. Varg shrugs, and I cannot tell if he is really unconcerned or pretending to be.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Varg smiles at me. In this light, his teeth appear to be gleaming and sharp, like he has fangs.
Now give me back my cane and do precisely as I tell you, or the boy dies.
I stand still. I cannot look away from Varg's gaze, which is bright with triumph. If Fritz dies, you die as well. Are you not afraid of death?
I was never really alive to begin with. I'm just a bit of Fritz's mind given independence. This body isn't mine, so I can destroy it and not feel a thing. It will be Fritz that suffers.
Princess, don't listen to him. You know it's a trap. It's a trap. I know Waltz is telling the truth. I can see it in the look on Varg's face. I grip the cane tighter to me. Varg is lying to me. He will definitely suffer. But he is also serious about hurting Fritz. And I cannot let that happen.
Now do as you're told, little princess.
Don't be stupid, Lucette. You'll leave everyone here alone. Varg nods, amusement flickering in his eyes.
As my princess commands.
Princess, don't. I am so sorry. But just as I start to move toward Varg, a bright light shines out from behind me. Okay, Parfait's back. Whoa. The shield of light pushes forward and past me, shoving Varg back and out through the hole he'd made in the wall. I turn, barely able to believe what I see. Parfait! She comes to stand in front of me.
Listen closely. We don't have much time.
Parfait's eyes flicker to Varg, who is shifting ever so slightly in the rubble. Even I can tell that he is only temporarily out of commission.
Tomorrow midnight, meet us at the palace gates. Bring Neverland and Tinkerbell with you.
But you...
Do you understand?
I falter as I imagine what Parfait could possibly be planning. Whoops. But I have no time and I can read nothing in her gaze. There is nothing else for me to do but nod in understanding. Yes, I understand. Parfait smiles at me as she caresses my cheek with a gentle hand.
I have faith in you, Princess. We all do. You'll be fine.
Parfait grabs me by the shoulders and forcefully pushes me toward Varg.
Ugh.
He catches me, his hands firmly gripping my shoulders as I am careened into him.
Keep her safe, Fritz.
Varg flinches. He is inhaling and getting ready to speak when the air around us suddenly thins and we are swallowed by light. Guess we're being transported back to the palace.